The late Colonel Cooper considered the pistol, specifically the 1911, to be an essential component in the scout rifle setup. In one of his gun site gossip columns, he boldly stated that the only thing more potent than a man with a scout rifle and a 1911 is a tank. We can assume that this was based on the condition that the man had established some proficiency in his art of the rifle and the modern technique of the pistol. The late James Yeager of Tactical Response, who once made a video titled 1911s Suck, showed up at the second Scout Rifle Conference with a Savage Model 11 Scout and a 1911 on his hip in order to pay respects to the late Colonel Cooper. In this postmodern, post-Cooper era, we have AR files declaring that the Scout Rifle is obsolete, that the AR-15 fulfills all the requirements of a general-purpose rifle and can outperform the Scout Rifle in every aspect the late Colonel designed it for. Likewise, today's Niners declare that not only is the 1911 and its 45 ACP cartridge obsolete, but also the Weaver stance that goes along with it. To such a great degree that during my concealed carry class, I was chastised by the instructor for insisting on using the Weaver stance. The criticism kind of abated as soon as my shooting scores were top of the class. But even then, people stubbornly asked, "Why do you insist on using the Weaver stance?" I answered their question with a question. What is your empty-handed fighting technique? What? You don't have one? Why not? Are you a shooter or are you a fighter? Is your ability to fight solely based on the possession of a firearm, knife, or other implement? Or is your fighting instinct more deeper down, from your empty hands on up to rifles, pistols, and even more sophisticated weapons? Now, the late James Yeager, in his course called Fighting Pistol, taught a technique that was obviously meant for someone that had no empty-handed fighting skills. If somebody was wailing on you with their bare hands, with a club, and even if you had a knife, well, it might work against the knife attack, but you're definitely going to the ER. It was called the Armadillo Technique. Someone's wailing on you, you go and bend over, use your weak hand to cover the back of your neck and head, and now if you're an able-bodied man and you turn a fist fight into a gunfight, you are going to have some explaining to do. Ask some guy named Zimmerman. Now, if you have some empty-handed fighting skills, you are less likely to have to resort to deadly force. In this particular case, it's quite conceivable that what starts as an empty-handed confrontation can quickly turn into a deadly force situation. Now, I'm a student of Kempo Karate. In Kempo, the basic fighting stance is called the neutral bow. From this position, I can block my attacker, I can kick, I can strike, and I can punch. Or, if required, without changing stance or making any other transition, go right to pistol craft, seamlessly. If I was to use the current standard, or the modified isosceles, I would have to shift from the neutral bow and learn a new technique, change gears in other words. By maintaining the Weaver stance, I can transition from empty-handed to deadly force seamlessly. Now, even I have found on occasion that if I had to make a long-range surgical shot, the isosceles is a more effective technique. But Kempo provides an answer to that dilemma. Now, the fighting stance in Kempo is called the neutral bow. However, if I want to throw a punch from the backhand, the rear hand, I rotate to what's called the forward bow. And this is done as quickly as the punch. So, things are up close and personal. All of a sudden I have to go far and precision. I can quickly rotate to forward bow. As things get back up to close and personal, rotate back to weaver. In the same manner that we practice transitioning from the rifle to the pistol, so would be transitioning from your empty-handed fighting stance to pistol craft. Having an empty-handed fighting skill will make you a better gunfighter. It gets you in the mind of fighting, not just shooting. Next, it can buy you time to get to your pistol. Law enforcement actually now teaches empty-handed fighting techniques to parry knife attacks, allowing you time to bring your weapon to bear. Empty-handed fighting techniques can also preclude the use of deadly force. If you can knock someone to the ground instead of shooting him, that will save you a day in court. Which one should one choose? Well, the martial arts culture is very much like the gun culture. Just like we have the rivalries here, 9mm versus .45, revolver versus automatic, .308 versus .556 versus .762 by .39, full power rifles versus combat carbines versus bolt actions versus lever guns. The rivalries in the martial arts community are just as intense and just as diverse. So before you get into that, well, take some of your experience in the gun culture and take that with you into the martial arts community. The same discretion you used to choose your weapon, you need to use to choose your empty-handed fighting technique. And once you choose one, work on seamlessly integrating the two so that you can transition seamlessly from one to the other. Thanks for watching. Comments below, like and subscribe.